Hi everybody, my name is Doug Remington, and this video is all about the antidote for anger. Just to review a little bit, what we were talking about in the last video was that there are 5 antidotes for all emotional pain, and that's really all you need. And that all emotional pain can be broken down into 5 different categories. That is greed, anger, fear, depression, and guilt. Those 5. And beyond that, there is not another category of emotional pain. So you say, well, what about words like being humiliated? Well, if you're humiliated, that doesn't fit into those 5 categories. But actually, when you think about it, if you're humiliated, it will either make you depressed or angry. So by using the antidote for anger, you can cure the emotional pain that comes from humiliation. In the same way, jealousy does not fit into any of these 5 categories. But again, if you're jealous, you will either be angry or depressed. And to make a long story short, you can find an antidote for anger, which will cure your, jealousy. And or if it makes you depressed, you have an antidote for depression. But what we're going to talk about today is the antidote for anger. And actually, this is the hardest one. A lot of people don't get past this particular one. But not only does it make anger easier to deal with, but it makes all the other emotions easier to deal with. So, without further ado, in any case, I wrote a book. It's called, what is it called? Owner's Manual for the Human Mind. And basically, I don't want to sell it to you. I want to give it to you. And I will never follow up with an email trying to get money from you or bothering you with emails or anything like that. It's a pure gift, and you can find it. A link for it, you can download it. It's in the description below. So in the AA book on page 562, it says that the only way that this particular person had ever found to get rid of anger is to wish that person that they hate love, health, happiness, and all the things that they would like to have in life themselves, and that this would get rid of anger. So basically, it was easy for me to get into it. And by wishing love, health, happiness, I could get rid of my anger, but it was a chore. And basically, the first time I ever did it, it was like getting a sword right through the chest. I mean, it was really bad. Not only that, but I struggled with it. Then sometime later, I was in the Bodhi Tree bookstore, and I noticed that there was a book, and inside the book, the Buddha was talking about anger. So I bought the book without really paying a lot of attention to it, and I got the book home, and I started reading it, and the Buddha says there is an easy way to control anger. I got so easy. I had been struggling with anger for what, 20 years, something like that. I had been to the psychiatrist. I had been to the psychologist. I had been to the preacher. I had been to the rabbi. I had been to a whole lot of people and family and friends. And really, I struggled really bad with anger for like 20-some years after I quit drinking. And, I don't wish that on anybody. But he says there's an easy way. Well, I took that book out and I threw it in the trash, but I was so angry that I took the trash out and threw it in the trash can, And then, time went by, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, And suddenly I'm wide awake, and I'm wondering, what in the heck does the Buddha think an easy way to get rid of anger is? So curiosity got the best of me. I fished the book out of the trash can, and I found that it's the only way, really, to get rid of anger. And basically, it's the easy way to get rid of anger. Basically, if you can get into a state of love, into the consciousness of love, this will kill all anger. Again, a little review from the last video. According to Aristotle's Ethics, the middle path is something that, or the middle state of our consciousness is something that it's authentic happiness, and no emotional pain can arise there in that particular state of consciousness. Well, if you force the mind into that state of consciousness by loving, practicing goodness and love and what have you, you will not have any emotional pain at all, and the anger will be gone. So, to make a long story short, what is the easy way to get rid of anger? And by the way, as long as we're at it, I was going to talk about something that you can find in the Bible called the fruit of the Holy Spirit. Actually, on Google, all you have to do is search the fruit of the Holy Spirit, and it'll come up with the exact verse. But what it says is that if you can get the fruit of the Holy Spirit, you have peace, love, joy, bliss, all of these good things that happen in your life, and you're not going to have any emotional pain there just by getting the fruit of the Holy Spirit. And in the Greek, the fruit is a plural noun. So it means that although there is only one fruit of the Holy Spirit, at the same time, it has many attributes. And so it's really talking about the same thing as Aristotle's Ethics. Remember, of course, that Aristotle was a Greek, and I'm very sure that Paul, who was the writer of the New Testament of the Bible, or most of the New Testament, it's in one of the letters from Paul, was, conversant in Aristotle, and that's Aristotle, the middle path. So you even find this middle path of happiness in Christianity, as well as the Bhagavad Gita, as well as, here, there, and everywhere. In any case, let's get to this easy way. So you start out by love, but you don't start out trying to, let me find it here. You don't start out by sending love, health, happiness to your enemies. You start out just by sending love, health, happiness to all beings. Then you send love, health, happiness to all beings that breathe. Then you send it to all devils, demons, devas, angels, dragons, cherubs, and other spiritual beings. Then all females. Then all males. So actually you don't have to learn this, from this video. You can just read it right out of my book. You don't really have to, write it down. But eventually what you do is you'll learn it. So the sixth thing is your spiritual teacher, or your psychiatrist or therapist, all people who are religious. Then you send it to all people who are not religious. Why not? You send it to all worldly people, all beings and of course all beings in a state of woe. Well, by sending that love, health, happiness, it puts you into the state of happiness. It puts you into the state of sattva, as it's talked about in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and it also gives you the fruit of the Holy Spirit. Then you attack the people that that you can't stand. And basically, as a first emphasis, what I did in my own life was I went back and I took everybody that I had a resentment against, and basically I had a resentment against everybody. I had a resentment against my teachers. I had a resentment against people that I knew. It was terrible. Anyway, resentful. So let me just find where it says here. Well, actually, you can find it in the book. I have it all memorized, of course. But you send happiness to everyone, including the people that you don't like, can't stand, or otherwise hate. So, and you do it this way. You say, I wish all beings physical beauty, love, health, happiness, success, wealth, friends, fame. I've forgotten them all. But anyway, there are 7 things. Physical beauty, love, health, happiness, success, wealth, fame, friendships, and salvation. So you see the Buddha inside your heart, or your personal ideal inside your heart, or God inside your heart, or whatever your personal ideal of love is. And you wish love, I wish that person physical beauty, love, health, happiness, success, wealth, fame, friendships, and enlightenment. And may we be free from hostility, free from anger, free from craving, free from affliction, free from distress. May we live happily at peace with all beings. May all beings be happy. And you do this until all the anger leaves. Now, there's hurt inside when you do this, but when you think about it, if you squeeze your finger and you have a broken finger, naturally it's going to hurt. Well, the reason that there's hurt inside is because there's something broken inside. And the way you fix that is by wishing love, health, happiness until you cure it. And so what happens, even within a short period of time, all of these people that I hated or otherwise couldn't stand, could walk safely through the jungle of my mind without all the lions and tigers jumping out and devouring them. So in any case, that's my big thing on the antidote for anger. It's the only thing I've ever found that works. It's the only thing that ever made me safe and sane as I went through life for many years. I used to do this every morning and every night. I wish those 10 things and to all the people I resented in life at the time. And I could function as a normal person after I started doing that. And if I missed one particular day, I would find myself, blowing my top. And it was really a hard thing. But, it's been years since I've had a resentment. It's been years since I've been angry. And, I'm saying this now. Tomorrow, somebody will come into my life that I just can't stand, and I'll have to wish them love, health, happiness again. But so basically, I still do the technique from time to time, but I really don't have to do it because, it cleans out all of that hurt that's inside by sending it that way. And in the last video, of course, I said that this is pretty much a political thing. Aristotle's Ethics, where Aristotle mentions this, he put it in the realm of psychology. And with the Bhagavad Gita, it was also a political thing. Or actually, I said he put it in the realm of psychology. No, he put it in the realm of politics instead of psychology, because actually it can be a political thing. In the case of Mahatma Gandhi, that's exactly what he did, and that supposedly is the way that the British were defeated in India. That's how India gained its independence, with Satyagraha, which is translated as nonviolent resistance. So it's different than the nonviolent resistance in the United States, in the sense that, the demonstrators are just not violent. But in India with Gandhi, you would also have all of the the protesters, violator. You would have all of the protesters wishing the government love, health, happiness. And so as a force, it was very, very potent. And I remember Martin Luther King back in the 50s or 60s, right before he got shot, and he had that famous speech, I have a dream. And in there he said that most people do not do not be what they're supposed to be because other people are not who they are supposed to be. And in this speech he says that I'm going to be what I'm supposed to be, and I don't care who the other people are. And so at the time I liked what he said based on the fact that, it sounded more like a rugged individualist than somebody who was a religious. Actually, Martin Luther King was a preacher. And what he was referring to, I realized today, is that, he's going to practice Christian values, which is I'm going to love my enemies, pray for the people who persecute me, regardless of who, the other person is. And it's a very major force. It's a very major political force. In India, it was tried long before Mahatma Gandhi, but it also failed. King Ashloka was out to kill his brother, and he ran into a Buddhist monk on the road who actually converted him to Buddhism. And, he decided not to kill his brother, but instead practice metta, wish his brother physical beauty, love, health, happiness, success, wealth, fame, friendships, and enlightenment. And Ashloka was pretty much blamed for the fact that, the Muslim invaders had pretty much taken over a great portion of the country. But it's also interesting that they never really conquered India, but there were a lot of Muslims, but that's how the Muslims got in India, mainly because of King Ashloka, who believed that, you could politically drive out the enemy. And, of course, he was not so successful. But, on the other hand, if leaders in the United States will arise, such as Gandhi or Martin Luther King, who were very successful at it, I feel that it's probably something which is going to have a political impact on the United States rather than a spiritual impact. But for me, basically, I would like to share this with everybody because, it's just the most dramatic, one of the most profound things that has ever happened to me in my life, because it's a way to true happiness. It's a way to authentic happiness. And I strongly recommend it based on my own personal experience that since the early 1990s, I have not really suffered from any emotional pain. Anytime it's arisen, I have, of course, gotten rid of it. But immediately, it just goes once you're in the habit of doing it. In any case, in the next video, I'm going to be talking about an antidote for depression. And this one is a much easier thing to do. And I was totally depressed. I couldn't believe it instantly as soon as I tried it. And I thought I was depressed and I needed in-depth psychiatric treatment. In fact, I had been to the psychiatrist and been to the therapist, and they really didn't help me very much. And this one antidote, I got rid of all my depression immediately. I've never been depressed since. Or if I was depressed, I got rid of the depression by applying this antidote. So anyway, we'll talk about that in the next video.